Hi, my name is Stan Greenspan, and I have the honor of hosting the 2021 FJMC International Executive Installation this evening. You almost saw me earlier this evening as President of Mercaz Canada in the movement greetings, but you all know how I feel about the FJMC, and I chose to keep my appearance numbers down. My colleagues certainly did a fine job and showed how much the FJMC means to the Jewish world we live in. I want to begin this installation by saying, on my own behalf, and in the name of all the members around the world of the International Federation of Jewish Men's Club, and in the name of those assembled for this virtual convention, thank you to all those who served on the 2019 to 2021 executive. Thank you to our outgoing president, Tom Sudo, for your many years of service, replete with achievements, for the sake of the FJMC, and for the kind words earlier this evening that you said about me and others. As president, you led the FJMC through what has undoubtedly been the most trying times in our long history. Tom, I still expect to see you on Thursday night for Talmud. We will be highlighting the outgoing and incoming executive members throughout this installation. And while we would have much preferred to be in person, please understand that we have done our best to honor each and every one of you for your efforts over the years. We are indeed fortunate to have so many capable members who have been willing to step up as volunteers for the FJMC. Thank you all for your service. As the chairman of the nominations committee and as the chairman of this evening's event, I would like to particularly thank the members of the nominating committee for their work. Aaron Altman, David Kravitz, Creighton Cohen, Alan Gottesman, Miles Simpson, and Joe Swerdlow. These men did a phenomenal job of helping us find new and exciting members for the incoming executive committee. This new group is among the most educated and diverse groups that we have ever had, with members born in Argentina, Hungary, Russia, Sweden, and the USA. Thank you all for the nominating committee members. I'd also like to welcome my good friend and predecessor as FJMC president, Alan Gottesman, to my co-host this evening. Alan missed his turn last year in Toronto. He was still recovering from his transplant. Thank you also to the Seabird region as sponsors of the installation and the addresses this evening. Thank you for this opportunity, and let's begin. One moment while I get the video up. This is the FJMC 2021 installation of officers. We'll begin with the discharge of officers for the 2019 to 2021 season. These are your FJMC International Executive Officers, beginning with Tom Sudo. This presentation will be available later on. Tom, as you know, has made a speech this afternoon and has served as president and many other roles in our organization. Thank you, Tom, for your service. You are discharged as president. Alan Cahan is first vice president. Thank you, Alan, for service over the years, and you are also discharged. Wait around for a little while, we'll get back to you. Mr. Budman, those of you who attended our board meeting last week, it seems like so long ago, know that from now on, because of all the Allens, we're all named Alan. Alan is a member who's been around for a long time. We've all enjoyed having him with us. We'll talk about him more later on. Thank you, Alan. Stephen Dix is someone who became a great friend to all of us. He will not be continuing on the executive committee. He lives in Atlanta, from Houston originally, has an incredible resume, just a wonderful guy, and we will miss him at our executive committee meetings. We hope to see him so many times in the future at other things. Just a wonderful guy. Elliot Feldman is someone who's been around for a while and has been looking, and he's a great organizer. Thank you, Elliot, for being a VP. Elliot will be back. David Singer came onto the executive as our secretary and served as a VP last year. David will be continuing. We'll hear more from David over the years, I am sure. Benny Sommerfeld is not only our only Swedish member and knows who Börje Salming is, but also he is one of the best and funniest guys, great sense of humor, and does an incredible Swedish chef. Benny will be back. Bruce Tomar is no longer going to be a vice president, but will stay around. You'll hear about that later on. Bruce is another wonderful guy from the MAR region. His least capable feature is that he is also a cousin of Joey Swerdlow.
Stan, your screen share is off.
It's
Double
off?
check your screen. You all have just have a blank screen.
Oh, okay. It's supposed to be. Oh, one second. Let me. Did you see anything?
No, nothing.
We just see a black screen. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was trying to get you in the chat.
I didn't see it.
Now I see your desktop.
Okay, let me go back to it again. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Technical difficulties. Let's do it again. Now we have it.
Oh, now we see it. Now we're good.
Okay, good. Sorry about that, guys. George Naddis is a longtime friend and Toronto native, or lives in Toronto, but born in Hungary. He will be back as treasurer. He's a wonderful guy and has a great sense of humor. Almost as good as the sense of humor our friend, the accountant, Mr. Gottesman, has. Mark Guyver is a secretary. He will be staying with us also, but not as a secretary. He's moving to a different area. Mark has moved from St. Louis to the coast of Florida. Wonderful guy, and we look forward to seeing him. He will also be taking on a role in the next convention. Dan Granick was added to the executive by Mr. Sudo, and he's a teacher. Lots of experience in a lot of different things. His passion is the UN, and I must suggest to Mr. Cahan that when you have an opportunity, please go with Dan and get your UN identification card, because we can do that. It's a really wonderful thing to have. Dan is a great guy, and we will miss him on the executive, but we'll continue to see him in the future in other places, I'm sure. Norm Cass, as Tom said and others said, has been a great IT guy. We first met him when he started coming to meetings on his own. He wanted to be with us. He wanted to help us, and he's done incredible things. He is a great guy to have around and a great guy to deal with all the little things that go on. Norm is going back to his region, the Western region, and will be, I'm sure we'll see him as president of the region one day. Thank you, Norm. Art Lashin is a retired lawyer who's worked very hard on Yom HaShoah, done incredible things with other charities, just another person. You know, all these people are really great, and it's hard to say something special about one or the other, because they are a wonderful people. Art is someone you really should take time to meet and talk to. John Norton from Chicago, lives near Wrigley Park, cheers his Cubs. Anche Emmett has a wonderful sense of humor, and is a constantly working behind the scenes. Doesn't say much, but does a great job as what he's doing. Alan, this is your turn.
So I'm not going to, oh God, what a picture.
Yeah.
So it's my honor and my privilege to discharge Stan Greenspan from his position as FJMC honorary president. We want to thank Stan for his tireless workings on behalf of the FJMC, and stand by the authority vested in me by the FJMC, the IKC, the state of Florida, and the province of Ontario. I hereby discharge you of your duties as FJMC honorary president and welcome you to our past presidents club. Yasher koach and toda for all you do for FJMC.
Thank you, Alan. So with that, we've discharged the entire executive from the 2019-2021 officers. Now we begin the installation. These are our officers for the 2021 season. We'll do them a little bit out of order. Mark Cohen is a first timer. Mark is a teacher. He as an educator, just really enthusiastic guy. We've known him for quite a while. He is very passionate about things, and Mark has been trained by Yad Vashem in Holocaust studies, as well as being just a wonderful guy. He will be an asset to your executive, Mr. Cahan. Elliot Feldman, we talked about him before. Elliot is just somebody you want to talk to and meet. He is very organized, very wonderful in terms of what he can do. And he is just a dynamo when it comes to doing things. He gets things done. Elliot, congratulations again. Gary Cates, even though we have an argument about how you pronounce his last name, because I think we're cousins. My mother was a Cat, spelled exactly the same way. Gary is a psychologist at Cal State University, teaches and has a practice. He will be working on communications, and he is just somebody you want to work with and meet. He is he's someone who's helped us put together the HMV program over the years and has done some incredible things with the Western region, as many of our Western region leaders have done. Just a great guy to be around. He will be an asset to our organization. Alex Kitterman. Alex is someone who's unique to this organization. He is just an incredible mind, PhD in mechanical engineering, 50 patents to his name, has changed from major heavy industrial machinery to microbiology and engineering. Just incredible, great guy. I'm sure that he will be somebody who is just an asset to you, Mr. Cahan. And he is somebody who has an incredible mind and will be doing great things. I believe he is our first person to be born in Russia to be on the executive committee. David Singer, we spoke before. David was our communications VP. He has done a lot of reimagining in terms of what we do in how we deal with our electronics communications, and has tried to organize and done a good job of it in terms of how we deal with things. As these 2 years or these last 15 months is showing, we have to move into a position where we are dealing with people more electronically. It's just imperative. And David has put us on that track. Thank you, David, and congratulations. Benny Sommerfeld is just one of our great guys. Benny is a joy to be with. He is somebody who has artistic training. He worked for Volvo. What a Swedish thing to do. And he is just a great guy, lives in California. Past president of that region, has been on the board on the executive already for 2 years. Another 2 years, Benny, just continue to do great things. Great stuff, Benny. George Nadas, I've known for a long time. I've known him since he was first started in the men's clubs at Adath Israel in Toronto. Just another good guy, an accountant by trade. He has been able to make meaning out of the mess we sometimes deal with in terms of figures, and he is able to put it into English that we can all understand, even though he was born in Hungary. Thank you, George, and you can continue success as our treasurer and keeping everything straight. Javier Rosenzweig is our first Argentinian born member. He lives in New York, was the president of the New York region, and he is just another guy. You can see, if you're reading quickly, you can see all the wonderful things that Javier has been involved in addition to what he does for the men's club. He is somebody you want to talk to. We've added someone with Spanish speaking skills to our executive, with real skills, and that's going to make a difference because we have expanded it all over the world. It's always wonderful to have someone like Javier with us, and he's just somebody who will be an asset. The executive committee appointments of Mr. Cahan include Mark Guyvars, who will be moving on to doing LDI, and he will be convention co-chairman for the 2023 convention. Bruce Tomar is another person who has been on the executive and chosen to become an executive committee member. Great guy, Bruce, and we will look forward to many good things from Bruce. Bob Watts is someone we all met when he came out as our professional nerd. Bob worked at the State Department, United States State Department, as an embassy staffer. Met his wife in Peru, I believe, and has just been an incredible guy around, does all the things, and was the first person to lead a webinar for us. Bob will be an asset to us, and just a great, great, great person. Now, I have the honor of introducing Larry Allen, our past international president, who would like to say a few words.
I am humbled and honored to be up here today to chat about a dear friend who has made a difference in my life and so many others. While I was considered his mentor, in reality, his gracious, caring, and gentle leadership has taught me as much as I could ever have given him. Alan Budman's wit, humor, organization, and passion has permeated everything he has done over the last 25 years. From being co-chair of the K-Root program to FJMC convention programming chair, vice president of regions, board member of the FJMC Foundation for Jewish Life, fundraiser for the Friends campaign, leader in his synagogue, and an integral part of the executive committee for the last 12 years. Alan has personified our tagline, leadership, innovation, community. I am proud of the leader Alan has become. He has a unique, gentle way of bringing people together. He chooses methodically and wisely and uses an eloquence needed by the FJMC. Alan is the best of team players, and we should all be proud that he will lead FJMC into the future with Alan Cahan. He is the right person at the right time in the right moment to share his values with FJMC. We all need to get together to make the next 4 years the most productive in FJMC history by our support of Alan and Alan. I hereby install you as Vice President of the Federation of Jewish Men's Clubs.
Thank you, Larry. Alan Budman. Now, please stand by for Norman Kurtz, another past president of our organization. Oops, sorry.
Alan, I sure wish we were doing this in person, but here we are virtually. Just know that my hand is on your shoulder and a hug awaits you the next time I see you. You and I have spoken a lot the past several years, and one thing you continue to repeat is that when you first got involved in FJMC, you never thought you would rise to this level of leadership. You continue to say that someone must have seen something in you to encourage you to continue to climb the ladder. Well, there were many of us that immediately saw your potential. And when we do, we try very hard not to let that someone with your skills, talents, and good heart slip away. And now you have grown from being Uncle Alan leading the young children in play and games at the Concord Hotel at your first convention to today, when at this convention, you are being installed as the next president of the Federation of Jewish Men's Clubs. It is an awesome opportunity and responsibility to lead the FJMC. In my opinion, our organization is the leading influencer in the conservative Masorti movement, and you are being charged with piloting us through the next 2 years. I know that you have the skills, talents, and desire to equal, and better yet, to exceed the accomplishments of your predecessors. And I am confident that you will succeed. You are a man of vision. You understand what the FJMC should be, and you know what you want to accomplish. I encourage you to be bold and to take risks. Nothing is accomplished without risk. You have a great team of officers and volunteers behind you. and a willing group of experienced mentors, all rooting for you, all willing to give you whatever you need to assure your success. In our tradition, we are taught that a true leader learns to instill confidence, delegate, administer fairly, and seek advice. Try not to forget these values as you assume your new leadership role. Being FJMC president takes a great deal of time and sacrifice. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but I assure you that the reward and gratification you receive far outweigh the challenges you will endure. In advance, we all thank your wife, Helene, and your children, Ariella, Shira, Jared, and Sadie, for sharing you with us. I'm sure they are so proud of you today as you take on this new role. On behalf of the Executive Committee, Board of Directors, and membership of the FJMC, thank you and Yasher Koach. I now install you as International President of the Federation of Jewish Men's Clubs. May you guide the FJMC to great heights, and may we continue to go from strength to strength. Congratulations, Alan, and Mazel Tov.
Thank you, Norm. Just a note, it looks like I may have missed Carl Rubin on the list. I know we made a slide for him. We'll see if we can find it. We're running a little bit late. It's time for Mr. Kahan. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes. Roll it.
I am humbled and honored that you have elected me as the president of this organization and look forward to taking the FJMC to the next rung on the ladder of success. As we start to open up after more than 15 months of pandemic, we've righted the financial condition of our organization and learned to survive within a realistic budget. As this truly new spring arrives, and with the changes to our bylaws, which opens our organization to more Jewish men's group and Jewish men, let's take this unique opportunity to put into practice the reality of the fact that men's clubs goes beyond the synagogue parking lot. I would hope every affiliated men's club in our organization would reach out to men's club and brotherhoods, whether affiliated with the FJMC or not, and whether they be Reform, Reconstructionist, Orthodox, unaffiliated, and other, and get to know these men as brothers in a Jewish journey, with either a Sunday picnic or just grab a beer together, and then they can be asked to talk about what value they get out of their involvement, what makes them most proud of their Jewish involvement, and what they would hope to be able to pass on to their children, grandchildren, and the next generation. As many of you realize, as a result of participating in one of the HMV sessions on Tuesday night, this would be an introduction to and a subtle Hearing Men's Voices session, which helps each of the men in attendance get to know each other better. Since it appears that this virtual convention will likely end up with a profit, let's take a small portion of that profit to reinstitute visiting regions and clubs. Yes, we now have the funds for such travel, to both meet and train our leaders locally and see if we can do either start new clubs at local synagogues or temples, or begin the discussion of affiliating unaffiliated clubs. What our clubs have found in the 92 years of existence is that an international organization, which the FJMC is, with a vibrant regional structure, which we have, provides tangible benefits to those who join in it. The FJMC has been an incredible engine that led the conservative movement on many issues for many years. Most recently in pushing rabbis and congregations to address and welcome the non-Jewish members of our congregants. The Kerov program became so successful that finally rabbis and congregations adopted much of the philosophy we originally espoused. But our congregations are still not as welcoming as they can be. In today's society, where a Jewish person can just as easily opt out of the organized Jewish community, which was shown in the latest Pew poll, Pew study, We're setting up a task force, which we call inclusion, which would develop a plan to move our congregations to be more welcoming to LGBTQI, disabled, single male parents, Jews of color, and others, so that all are welcome within our community. Over the past year or so, I've had the privilege of being mentored, developing a deeper personal relationship with an FJMC leader who wanted to make me a better Jewish leader to lead this organization. All of us can benefit from such mentoring, and led by past international presidents Alan Gottesman and Miles Simpson, we're implementing such a mentoring plan with mentors for each of our elected international leaders. More than 25 years ago, or for more than 25 years, we've had an incredible leadership program for regional leaders and emerging leaders in the region through our Joel A. Gaffin Leadership Development Institute, commonly known as LDI, which was started by this convention's presidential award winner, Norm Kurtz, and our mentor extraordinaire, Bert Fishman, of blessed memory. But we should be bringing both leadership development and mentorship down to the club leadership level. I've been speaking with many members of my leadership team about these issues to make real the claim we make about leadership in our bullet points of leadership, innovation, and community, and mentoring leaders at the club, region, and international level. Hopefully, you'll see the results of those discussions after convention in the months ahead. And there will be additional programs which we'll be implementing, which we'll have more details about soon. What do I hope that the FJMC will look like at the end of my term in the summer of 2023? Hopefully, at least in part, different than it looks like today. We should have, after a multi-year absence, professional leadership who can help guide us in the years ahead. And we've already created a committee that is looking at that and will be reporting back to us at LDI 2022 in January of next year. We should be growing as an organization, not retracting. And I set as a realistic goal growing to 225 clubs by the end of my administration. And we should develop specific plans on how to develop leadership and succession in the affinity groups we've created and those we'll create in the coming months. If we don't ask those who participate in our groups to become more than just observers and receivers, we can't expect them to know that becoming more involved enriches life. As I learned from my brother Steve, a past international president of Alpha Omega, the Jewish dental fraternity, what you get out of organizational life depends on what you put in. The more you put in, the more rewarding that experience is. And that applies to each of you viewing this convention activities from the comfort of your screen. You'll find it much more rewarding by getting involved rather than watching from afar. Much of what we do requires finances, and growing our organization will help such with the potential of more dues-paying members, but dues alone isn't sufficient. And this isn't something that is just an FJMC-related problem, but is a problem in all nonprofits. During the next 2 years, we will develop annual fundraising events, which don't have to be reinvented each year, which will include a yearly raffle, an end-of-the-year campaign, and continue reinvigoration of Friends of the FJMC campaign, which has been led by my first vice president, Alan Budman. I would hope that most of you who are listening will become a friend of the FJMC and join Al and myself and dozens others with a monthly contribution to the organization, which is effortlessly charged to your credit card. Finally, many of our best leadership people in this organization played a leadership role not only in their club and region, but in their club, their region, and on the international level. So I'm asking those of you watching this who haven't stepped up to those multiple leadership roles to take that exhilarating plunge and send me an email at akahan@fjmc.org so we can begin the discussion of your increased involvement in the months and years ahead. I can tell you, if I'm an example of such, that you'll find the experience most rewarding and fulfilling. I look forward to working with each of you in the coming 2 years to propel our organization forward. And as I've indicated before, to listen to and share your ideas to make the organization stronger. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the adventure which now begins.
Thank you, Alan. Part of our installation ceremony is the transfer of the Torah mantle. Tom and I put this together last night.
The presidential Torah mantle is common among the major volunteer-led organizations of the conservative Masorti movement. These are the Federation of Jewish Men's Clubs, the Women's League for Conservative Judaism, and the Rabbinical Assembly. During the term of each organization's president, the mantle is used by the president's congregation on the Torah read each week. The FJMC Torah Mantle Project began as a conversation between Steve Davidoff of blessed memory, Phil Reddish of blessed memory, and Sid Katz of blessed memory at the FJMC convention in 1995. It was Steve who suggested the FJMC logo surrounded by a series of kippot, each formed by the letters FJMC. The final sketch had one kippah for each of the 18 regions in the assigned regional color. In addition, there was one in red, white, and blue for the United States, red and white for Canada, and blue and white for Israel. A neutral color, tan kippah, was provided to represent all new regions that would join the FJMC after the mantle was finished. Steve and Shelley Davidoff provided this information and sketch to a local needlepoint artist who transcribed it to the needlepoint base. Shelley did the actual needlepoint. Steve had the Torah mantle created upon which the finished scrim was attached. This took about a year. The tradition of passing it from president to president was begun after convention 2003 and is now an integral part of our rituals at convention. The Torah mantle has traveled through the regions from Danny Stern in Seaboard to Bob Braitman in New England to Norm Pertz in Midwest, back to Mark Berlin in Seaboard, to Mike Mills in KIO and Anche Derome, to Miles Simpson in Western, to Alan Gottesman in Florida, to Stan Greenspan and Anche Safone, to Tom Sudo in KIO. Now it's my pleasure to continue the tradition and pass the FJMC Torah mantle to our new president, Alan Cahan of the Seaboard region.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the FJMC's 2021 to 2003 officers. Thank you all. You're all listed here. I just want to make mention, Carl Rubin. I'm sorry I missed your slide. I'm not going to go back to it, but Carl is a great guy. I'm going to owe him forever on this. I know it. Carl's a financial manager out of Columbus, KIO president, just a great guy, another great guy. We have a great group of people here. Congratulations, all of you. And it's my wonderful duty to install you all as the officers of the FJMC. Now, I think we made one mistake on here. You're now actually named Alan as per our last board meeting. The names are all changed. This will go up on the website. Thank you all, Allens. Thank you very much for attending the installation. It was a pleasure.